Hi everyone, this is Erin Williams, and I will be reviewing basic classroom procedures to keep you and your students safe for when we transition back to face-to-face instruction. These basic guidelines will also help keep you and your colleagues safe as you work in your buildings during virtual instruction. We love our students, and one of the hardest things that we as adults will have to refrain from doing is giving our students hugs and high fives. This will be especially hard for those of you who teach younger students because they often initiate those hugs. In order to make this a little easier, go ahead and start teaching your students some alternative greetings so they are prepared to use them when they return. Your building principals and school-level teams have been working hard at developing site plans. These plans include determining the social distancing capacity of every room in the building. When you start teaching face-to-face, your room will look very different. There will be less furniture and desks will be 6 feet apart. Some tips to help with this will be to use painter's tape to mark on the floor where the table legs should go, and use short memorable phrases like "stand up, mask up" to help students remember to wear their mask before they move about the room. Regardless of the age you teach, you will need to remind your students to cover their nose and mouth when sneezing and coughing. Remember, for some this is not an automatic response, so remind with compassion and patience. It is also best practice to remind non-verbally or privately to avoid inadvertently embarrassing the student. One thing teachers know is that students who are embarrassed often feel the need to act out to save face, so these private reminders will often prevent negative behaviors. In regards to healthy habits with classroom supplies, limit sharing and ensure that if anything is shared, it is sanitized prior to next use. Avoid using materials and supplies that are hard to sanitize, like small objects with lots of pieces or plush items that require washing. Students must have their mask on in order to enter the classroom. Just prior to entering, they should be greeted with a hello and a little spritz of hand sanitizer. They will then go directly to their seat and sit down. Their mask should remain on until everyone else is seated and social distancing is in place. Students must wear their mask and either wash their hands or sanitize them prior to exiting the classroom. There will be more about this later, but reading someone's emotional state can be difficult if you cannot see their whole face. You may want to ask your students as they walk in how they are, or ask them to describe their mood using a color or word. Which one you pick will depend on the student's age, but it will give you a little more indication of how your students are starting out their day. It is important to note that mask policies must follow all city and county ordinances. Putting names on masks and permanent marker will help return a lost mask to its rightful owner, so it can be washed and reused. Each school will have extra masks on hand to provide to students who lose theirs, or have an ear strap that breaks, or for some other reason they need one. When discussing the slide on entering and exiting the classroom, I promised more information on reading students' emotional state. Well, that time has come, and I enlisted a little help from the FBI on this one, because let's face it, the FBI is just darn cool. Anyway, a retired FBI agent provided some tips for reading body language. These tips are especially helpful given that 90% of all communication is nonverbal, and a good majority of that comes from our facial expressions. A face half covered in a mask makes reading facial expressions somewhat difficult, so I'm going to give you a second to either read through these tips or break out your cell phone to take a quick photo of them for review at another time. The district has worked very hard in order to obtain safety materials and supplies for your classrooms and for your school. The district will provide you with supplies, but you are welcome to use your own. Just make sure to get them approved by your building administrator prior to use. If you have any allergies, talk to your building administrator as well, so you can work on a solution together. ABM is working hard to keep our schools clean and sanitized, but they cannot do it alone. We will all need to work together. The safety of our students and all of our teachers and staff is MCSD's #1 priority. For site-specific procedures regarding the clinic and AHEC, see your building administrator. The #1 takeaway when sending a student to either location is to call ahead and discuss the reason for the visit. The school nurse or AHEC personnel will give you a procedure to follow that is specific to each child's individual need. If you have questions about when you or a student should stay home, seek medical attention, self-quarantine, get COVID-19 tested, or anything else health-related, go to page 13 in the Guidebook for Reopening Schools for flowcharts that will guide your decision-making. The page will look like this, and the flowcharts are the two that are circled: MCSD, when to stay home guidance, and the AHEC decision tree. The great majority of our students will acclimate well, but some may have some difficulty. These are difficult times, so let's remember to listen to them, try to understand what they need, and problem solve compassionately and creatively. For example, when a student is upset, instead of asking them what is wrong or why are you upset, ask them, what do you need? This puts the emphasis on a solution to the problem rather than the problem itself. Also keep in mind the varying developmental levels of students and how this will impact a student's understanding of their body in space and distance. Some students have difficulty with impulsivity or may be averse to wearing a mask due to heat, it feeling uncomfortable, sensory issues. It may be a reminder or trigger for a past trauma, or it may just be dirty or cause their face to break out. It is always helpful to remember that when a student is upset or angry, as much as it may feel like it sometimes, they are not trying to annoy you. They are trying to communicate something. It is up to us as adults to remain calm, determine what they are trying to communicate, and help them problem solve. When extra support is needed, administration, our school counselors, and our school social workers are here to support you. Gone are the days when you could just send a student out of class to the office or to see a counselor. You will need to call in advance for safety reasons, but you do have a team of people at your school to support you. And if things just seem a bit too much, or you need a safe place to vent, ask questions, or just confer with colleagues from across the district, feel free to join as many or as few of our teacher and staff sessions as you wish. Sessions will be every Monday at 9:30, Tuesday at 12, and Wednesday at 3, for as long as the need is there. There is no need to let anyone know you are interested. All you have to do is click on the link for the day and time that works for you, and it will take you right to the session. The flyer with working links is located on the district website under Resources, For Staff, and Teacher Support Session Flyer. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. If you have any additional questions, please see your building level administrator. You are all amazing teachers who do amazing work. These are unusual times for which we are doing unusual things, but together we will build our learning together and come out of this stronger. Thank you.